Leeds United 2, Liverpool 1. The high line exposed again. Defensive mistakes happening again. Jurgen Klopp, back-to-back defeats. Virgil van Dijk's home undefeated record goes. Jesse Marsch and Leeds United out of the relegation zone as it stands right now. But a big mess at Anfield. Can Jurgen Klopp get them out? This is peak!
Absolutely magnificent.
A massive result for Leeds United. They were the best team. They deserved this. And I tweeted at one point in the game, I was like, I don't know if they're going to do this, you know. The quality is going to come through at some point. The quality has to shine through of Liverpool. But it didn't. And the longer the game went on, let us be honest here. The longer that game went on, the less and less likely it was that Liverpool were going to score a goal. They didn't look like doing it. And the high line, I know that Liverpool fans are going to blame individual players, and that's partly the problem here. But the high line, it's as soon as you press Liverpool, they cower away. They know they're exposed being that high up. Let's talk about the first goal. Of course, predominantly on Joe Gomez, a horrendous back pass, blind back pass, ball played into the open area. Van Dijk partly to blame. He was asleep. He was looking in the other direction. Caught out 1-0. But you think Liverpool will come back into this. It's very early in the game. And then after that, Liverpool for 10, 15 minutes, fluent, quick football, getting the ball into the box, getting beyond the fullbacks, breaking lines, cutting balls back. Mo Salah gets the equalizer. And that's it. Mo Salah gets an equalizer. They're going to go on to win now. But from that point on, barring a couple of good opportunities where Meslier made some good saves, Leeds United were the better team. Not pound for pound like I tweeted earlier. They were the better team. Without a shadow of a doubt. By far the better team in this game. I didn't even look at the game statistically throughout the whole match. I didn't look at any stats. They had 22 shots, Liverpool, to 14 of Leeds. But Leeds played the better football. Okay? Yes, they had more of the ball than Leeds. But so much of it was in unimpactful, non-dangerous areas. Liverpool have got problems. And you beat City. And the reason you look so good against City is you drop your line deeper. You played within your means. You then went up against West Ham. And I said it after that game. You looked a bit dodgy in that match. You looked a bit dodgy in that game. But none of you wanted to hear it. Nah, Terry, West Ham did barely anything. Listen, a missed penalty and a last-ditch block from Milner stopped you from losing the game. You then go and play Nottingham Forest and were outplayed and beaten. Today, at Anfield, outplayed and beaten. And the reason that you're easy to outplay is because your high line leaves you exposed. You have no strong foundation or base to play from because there's always that possibility of a counter, a ball being played over the top, one or two intricate passes and they're in. And Jurgen Klopp has got to recognize that you need to go and spend big money in January because Virgil van Dijk is finished. He's finished as being a world-class centre-back. The amount of goals this season that have been his mistakes, unbelievable for the man that was for 3 or 4 years the very best centre back in the world. Right now, I wouldn't even say on current form he's in the top 10 in the Premier League. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm honouring Liverpool Football Club by speaking some truths. There are major problems at that football club. Klopp system, the high line, the poor form again of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk's regression, the lack of midfield. Mo Salah's overall form this season is off. And Darwin Núñez, good finisher. But other than that, what does he do? Other than when he's scoring, what else does he do? Very little. This is unsustainable football, an unsustainable project, and Liverpool will continue to sink like a stone in terms of their ranking within the top 6. They are now what? I haven't even looked at the league table. What are they now? On 16 points. So they are 8 points away from a top 4 position. 8 points away from a top 4 position. That is a long way. That is a long way away with how they are playing. And this isn't because it's raining. This isn't because the lights are too high or too low. The grass is too long. The away fans chanted so loud. There is no excuse for this. Klopp has to look at himself. He has to look at his system and that high line. And I know when these clips go out, especially Liverpool fans on Twitter, what are you chatting about? Focus on your own team. It's not on Klopp. It's on this. It's on that. Your high line's getting exposed. The vast majority of games I watch Liverpool playing in the Premier League, they concede the first goal. And no matter how they play, they look vulnerable. The one game this season in the Prem, outside of the Bournemouth match, where they didn't look vulnerable, was playing Man City. And that's because they sat 10, 15, 20 yards deeper. Jurgen Klopp has got to change. He has to change. Too gun-ho, too open, too high. And as they say, the more you around, the more you find out. And Klopp and Liverpool are finding out massively right now. The season is almost, they're a handful of defeats away from this season being done. It's already a disaster for a league campaign because they can't win the league from this point. That makes it disappointing. But they're not, by the way, they didn't win the Champions League either. You can't win major trophies leaking this level of chances. It is a impossibility for Liverpool to do it. Every team gets at them. 70 games unbeaten at home. Núñez chance, Mo Salah chances, but Leeds goalie outstanding. Listen, the unbeaten run at home is fantastic. It's fantastic. But the form from 2 or 3 years ago means nothing right now. Yes, Melier pulled off a couple of good saves. He did. But Núñez should be burying his chance. Should be burying it. I didn't think, the shot towards the top corner was a good save. The others I felt were really poor shots. There was a shot late on, I think it was from Firmino. It was a nothing shot. There was no power in it. It weren't placed particularly well. Listen, you're entitled to your opinion, but for me, it's only going to get worse this season for Liverpool unless fundamental changes are made to the system. Let's talk about how awful Darwin Noodles looks. Virgil van der Klein and Gomez have been a disaster. Klopp's 7-year curse is real. It's no coincidence, is what KP Masters has got to say here. Look, I'm quite a superstitious person in general. I'm not necessarily saying it's because of 7 years, but there is certainly an issue. No one has a divine right. 100% Klopp out is what Chomboy, you'll never walk alone, is saying here. Liverpool fan here calling for Jurgen Klopp to be sacked. To be sacked is what's being asked of here by a Liverpool fan. Daniel here says, a new low, pathetic. We used to win games in the tunnel. No one fears Liverpool anymore. Well done, Leeds, but I don't want anyone. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Honestly, I didn't see Leeds beating you today. Leeds have been in poor form themselves. They haven't won a game in 8 until today. I think in game in 9 until today. This being the 9th game. The manager's almost sacked. He's calling out his own players in the week. They've been struggling to score goals. And it's at Anfield. And they took an early goal very fortuitously. But no one foresaw this coming. Everybody was waiting for that goal. Klopp's 3 punches towards the crowd. We all go home. That's what everybody was waiting on. And it didn't come. It didn't come at all. We've got Zayn, we've got Dom Husam backstage. He'll be coming on with us very, very soon. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. A lot of sack him, a lot of Klopp outs coming through into the comment section. Darwin Núñez is looking good for a flop of the season. I'm glad United didn't splash the cash on him. I am as well right now, if I'm being honest. I'm very glad Man United didn't end up with Darwin Núñez. Very, very glad indeed he didn't become a Man United player. Tom and Sam think they are a world-class team, is what Tavis Hall says here. Sam said he didn't see the United hype. Fair enough. I don't really know what it's got to do with it. Please press the like and let's bring out the panel. I don't know who else is coming on the panel. There are two people backstage right now. We're going to get them out in a few seconds. No Tom. I know Tom's birthday has been in the last few days, but he should still be here. No excuses. But there we go. There we go. Terry, they're closer to the relegation zone than top 4. That's mad. And we're getting to a point in the season now where we can't just say, well, we don't look at the table. Because people say you got to wait 5 games or 10 games. We're now at 12/13 matches. We're only a handful of games away from being 50% of the way through the season. This is where you find yourself in the next 3 to 4 games is quite literally where you are. You know, it really is. Fab was so bad. I thought Fred was on the pitch, is what JW says here. Terry, Liverpool stats look better. 32 shots and 14 corners. Finishing not clinical. Poor shots from Salah and Nunez. I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't know where you're getting 32 shots from. They had 22 shots in this game, according to who scored. Maybe a different apps or something different. But not being clinical is still an issue. But it's this is what I don't think some Liverpool fans are listening to. You're creating chances still. No one's denying that. It's the volume of opportunities you are conceding. That's the problem. That's the issue. That is the unsustainable part. If you were having this amount of shots and not scoring goals, but barely conceding opportunities, it wouldn't be a problem. There is a fundamental issue with the system. And yes, Gomez's and Trent's and Van Dijk's have had poor moments and have been in poor form. It doesn't matter which one of them is or isn't on the pitch. The problems still persist. There's a system issue here. And Liverpool fans not calling out their manager's system are exacerbating the situation. They're making it worse. You've got to call it out. There'll be a journalist in the press conference today that will ask Klopp what's going wrong, and Klopp will just give him a sarcastic answer, and these top Reds will go, yeah, that's my manager. No, okay, be an ostrich. Stick your head in the sand. Communist Merseyside won't admit this, but Klopp has to go. His system has been found out, and he is too stubborn to change it. Trent Nathaniel Klein is what Paul has had to say here. All roads leads back to all roads to Leeds, back to the cave, is what's been said here. Let's have a little look. Happy to see Leeds and end VVD's Anfield streak. Only a slight positive after the Chelsea's abysmal performance earlier today. Aronson has such a high motor. Yeah, Aronson looks a player. Aronson looks a real, genuine, bona fide star in the making. Like, he really does look good. He looks very, very good indeed. And of course, well done to Somerville. His 21st birthday tomorrow. Gets a winner at Anfield. And as much as people want to dig at Liverpool, scoring winning goals at Anfield is a rarity. I bet you can't find in Premier League era more than 30 players that have scored winning goals at Anfield in that way. Dramatic last minute winners in that way. Maybe there is. They must have lost more than 30 games. Maybe there is more than 30 players. That might be a push. But there ain't been many in the last 5, 6, 7 years that have done what he done on his 20, his age, I'm talking as well. Quality. The super chat last week after they lost to Forest, even Champions League in trouble. They'll be fine in the Champions League. They're going to get through, but they ain't winning it. Liverpool cannot win it conceding this many chances. And what will happen is they'll improve Liverpool. And then Liverpool fans, oh, Terry, you said we couldn't achieve anything. I said, you can't achieve anything playing in this style, playing with this high line. If Klopp changes it and you become a better team, then I'm right. And that is what he's going to have to do. He did it, by the way. He changed the way Liverpool played football all those years ago. Just when the Van Dijks and the Allisons came in, he managed games better. You weren't gun-ho for 90 minutes. You learned to reserve energy. You learned to manage matches. You were taking leads and you were sitting back and being hard to break down at times. The adaptation from Jurgen Klopp is what led to you being the best team in the world for a period. He has to adapt again now. He has to. The best managers in the world do it. Remember, Arsenal were finished when we scraped a 1-0 win at Ellen Road. Funny that is what John C. Elmore has got to say. Aronson is everything Pulisic wishes he was right now. We have another super chat here that says, how good was Brandon Aronson and Tyler Adams today? No, they were very good indeed. Is Tyler Adams also a Yank? He's also an American. I'm going to assume that he is. I'll just see a picture of him. He looks American when you just look at him. Is he American? Yeah, he's American. He just looks American. I don't know what that means, but he does. Yeah, both very, very good today indeed. Very, very good. Aronson is the USA's best player, not Pulisic. Yeah, they're both very, very good indeed. Very, very good indeed. Listen, I'm going to bring out Dom Husam to have his say on the show with me now. I know he's going to be fuming. I know he's going to have a lot to say. What's going on, brother? Another terrible defeat.
This is an absolute disgrace. It's getting to the stage where it's genuinely just pathetic at this moment in time. Like, this performance was just absolute dog shit from start to finish. Conceding goals early means that you weren't mentally ready for the game to begin with. People want to scapegoat people. Salah missing chances, Van Dijk this, blah, blah, blah. Truth is, they're all underperforming. Fabinho's being run around like he's a cone, like he doesn't exist. He's just standing there in the middle of the pitch. The substitutions by Klopp, the system, the tactics. You said something that I have been saying, and I get criticized for it, but I don't give a shit. When you have this many players playing horribly, you have got to look at the manager. That's just the truth. People, this is the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to hear. Salah, Trent, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Thiago, all these players did not wake up and be crap one morning and that's it, their ability disappeared. This is a systematic problem. This is on Jurgen Klopp. Today's game is on Klopp. This season so far is on Klopp as well, because he was the reason to begin with that we did not have a midfielder. Not the ownership, as many people want to say, because the money was there. Our manager just chose to not spend it. And substitutions today. On my watch along on halftime, this is how predictable we were. I said there's 3 players coming on: Henderson, Jones, and Milner. Jurgen Klopp needs to understand that James Milner is not fucking Maicon. He's not Maicon. He's a 38-year-old shit midfielder. There was no need to bring Trent off because he did well defensively and was crossing the ball in at least at a good and okay level. Milner cannot bring you anything better defensively or better offensively. Unnecessary substitution. As soon as Fabinho made 2 tackles and we looked like we're about to get our shit together, you bring him off, you bring on Henderson. Curtis Jones is worse than Charlie Adam. And I say that with full chest. Curtis Jones has never hit the level of Charlie Adam at Blackpool. That's just the fact. He's never even hit. He's genuinely one of the worst players I've ever seen play for my club. And Pep Linders in his book has the audacity to compare him to Pedri and Gavi. He can't even lace their boots. Curtis Jones, wrong decision, good pass. Wrong decision, good pass. It's been 3 years since he scored that goal at Everton. Virgil van Dijk needs to understand his perfume is not going to stop fucking attackers. Get stuck in, bro. I don't give a shit about the World Cup. Fuck the World Cup. I hope you get knocked out in the group stages. I don't care. I'm a Liverpool fan. Why would I care about Netherlands and Holland or whoever the fuck, plays for whoever? I don't care about the World Cup. Get stuck in. Joe Gomez, shit pass. Alisson's in the wrong place. And Van Dijk falls asleep because he thinks his perfume is going to stop Rodrigo. Your smell is not going to stop Rodrigo. Get stuck in. Can't head a ball to save his life for the last 3 games. Darwin Núñez, again, missing opportunities. Respectfully, we're not Brighton. People say, wait. I'm not going to wait. Fuck waiting. 64 million pounds you deliver. No excuses. I'm not in the excuses business. I'm a Liverpool fan. I support the biggest club in the country, or my minimum 2nd biggest club in the country. I'm 64 million pounds. You are not going to tell me you miss one-on-ones and miss the other one-on-one as well. This is just dog shit, Terry. It's not good enough. And the fucked up part is we cannot solve it now. Because the FSG are not going to leave in this moment in time. If we get rid of Klopp, Poch is not an upgrade, or whoever the hell is available is not an upgrade, or not even equal level to him. So we're going to have to wait post-World Cup. And we can't get players in because the transfer window is closed. So we deserve this. As an institution, as a football club, we deserve this. Because we are arrogant, because we are negligent, because we think we're better than everyone else. People talk about title race, top 4, Champions League. I laugh. The most important game from now to the World Cup is Derby County, because the Carabao Cups are only hope of a trophy. That's it. The Prem, it's finished. This top 4 thing, we're going to have to do some unbelievable shit in the second half of the season. We're going to get fucked next week by Tottenham Hotspur. I have 0 confidence in that game. 0 confidence. I know for a fact we're losing that game as well. We deserve every bit of this pain. And that manager standing on the sideline just smiling, shit substitution, shit tactics, shit system. We change it around. We put Gomez right back, we're still crap. We start Fabinho, we bench Henderson, we're still crap. We play Firmino in the 10, we're still crap. Salah central crap. Salah wide crap. Nunes on the left crap. Nunes up top crap. What do we do then? This is the problem with not refreshing. I'm gonna say something that will pain, has to be said. Manchester United dominated the league by having zero sentiments. If you're not good enough, bye-bye. That is how life works. Henderson needs to get the fuck out of the club and fuck him and his books. Curtis Jones is not good enough. Keita's not good enough. Ox is not good enough. All these players are just crap. Just get refresh a little bit. How many times has the Leeds defenders played against Firmino? 100 times in their career. How many times have they played against Haaland? 0. That's why they get dominated when they play against someone new. They refresh. Put something new out, man. We're just going in with the same core for the 7th season and expecting a different outcome. We ain't winning no league. We ain't winning no Champions League. Top 4 is the ceiling for this team, even with transfers at this moment in time. So we are finished. Liverpool's finished as a club. It's just as simple as that. Until January, we are fucked. That's the bottom line. And by January 1st, if we do not have 3 players or 2 players wearing that Liverpool shirt, we are the most unserious fucking football club on earth. That's just the truth. Because I don't give a fuck if Klopp thinks these are his children or some shit. It's time to move on now. It's time to move on. Even your child, when it comes to a certain age, you throw him out the door and tell him, go get a job and get your own house. It's as simple as that. You don't just keep stuck to the guy. People are not good enough, have to leave. They have to walk. And decisions have to be made. And we've got to improve tactically and substitutions and in-game management and players. This is just the truth.
I get that. I've just been sent this. Let's take a look.
Bamford, Somerville, shot, and Leeds have fucking scored! Leeds have scored the goal in the 89th minute because we are so fucking crap! I hate it.
It's brilliant content. It's brilliant content on your channel. I'm going to bring out some more of the panel here. Young Samuel's here. Zane's here. Neeks is here as well with us. How you doing, gents? See you, mate. How you
Yeah. That guy crying, man. Embarrassing, bro. Embarrassing, man. I'm not having that. Terry, I'm not happy with you as well, bro.
Wow,
you muted me last time I was on. You were mute me when I was saying, give it 5 games. Let's see if Arsenal are going to win the top of the league, bro.
I was muting you because I'm going to sound so arrogant. When I'm talking on my show, no one talks over me. Like when I need to address something. So
I was making a point about how Arsenal are going to be struggling. And guess what? Draw and defeat.
Forget Arsenal. Forget Arsenal. Forget Arsenal.
We're not here to talk Arsenal. We're here to talk Liverpool. What, Neeks? What are you saying, bro? What are you saying, Neeks?
You lot are done. You lot are finished. Husam's right. You're done.
Whoa.
You've got nothing. Like Ian Bill, you've got nothing left. It came and it went very, very quickly. It's actually embarrassing. Like, you look at this game and you're going like a basketball match, end to end against Leeds. Second worst team in the league at the stage. I think they were 19 at the start of the game. Haven't won in 8. Going to Anfield, where you lot apparently don't lose. And you're going end to end, toe to toe, like it's a Champions League final. I said, this is embarrassing. And the thing is, when you got 1-1, when we went 1-1, I thought, all right, you lot are you got out of jail because Gomez made the error. And you got equalizer back. Now you're gonna control the game at home, get the win, and you don't still learn your lesson. You kept doing it all game, over and over and over. Individual mistakes, team mistakes, no finishing. Your finishing, your up front was terrible. Firmino, he had a header and the left foot volley, fair enough. The header, terrible. Salah, he got his goal, didn't do. What was that cross? The outside of boot. I want to see all the pundits say how embarrassing and clown that was, because Anthony got clowned in a 3-0 win. Salah's doing up fake charisma. What was that? Man just kicked it over the bar for no damn reason. Darwin Núñez, you gotta score that. You have got the man does the simple things makes the simple things difficult and the difficult things simple. He gets a shot from outside the box, brilliant save by the keeper over the bar. 1-on-1, kicks straight at the keeper. Like, this guy is an enigma. And Jurgen Klopp, Curtis Jones. What the hell is Curtis Jones going to do in a game where you need a goal? A game where you need to win? What does that sub even mean? I don't know what the Milner Trent one was about. But the Curtis Jones one, I saw that was your first sub of the game. It don't even make sense.
You know we've got two issues with Jota and Luis Diaz, right? So we haven't got
Cavallo.
No.
When's the last time?
Making sure you know this kind of stuff.
When's the last time Cavallo had a good game?
I'm letting you carry on, bro.
When's the last time Cavallo had a good game? Not Cavallo, Curtis Jones.
Hold on. Are you not understanding the point now? If we got two strikers missing, he's going to put whoever's available.
Hang on. Zane, answer his question. Answer Neeks' question. When did Curtis Jones last have a good game?
Probably that goal he's living on from Everton, bro. 3 years ago or something.
3 years ago.
So
he shouldn't even be an option off the bench. When you got Cavallo on the bench, you've got Tsimikas on the bench. Both of them are better.
Tsimikas is a.
It doesn't matter what doesn't matter what he is. He's a better attacking option than Curtis Jones. Of course he is.
No.
Curtis Jones doesn't do nothing.
Zane, no, you can't say no. When your team need a goal, you got a player who hasn't been performing, he's been coming back off injury, and you've got a player, doesn't matter if it's Tsimikas, how many times have we seen managers make decisions that don't look like it makes sense, but it works?
You put the left back at left wing.
I'm sorry.
Put him on left wing,
the keeper some flowers, bro. He had a roadie today. That keeper had a roadie.
You love to do this. You love to do this, man. Every single time you lose, it's always the opposition team did well. Look at that player. Look at this player opposite team. Melier had the best game I've ever seen him play in my life. Cool. I don't even rate the guy that highly, but sick. But you can't come here and start looking at the opposition and how well they played when there's clear issues in your team and with your manager.
Let me address some of those issues you guys are talking about.
One at a time, so we can go around the team. Go, respond to some of the things that are being said about your team instead of deflecting by having a go at other clubs.
Okay, so let's go with the first thing. You're saying we need to change the way we're playing, right? Again, you lot, man, don't know what you're talking about because the type of goals we're scoring this season indicate we are playing differently to accommodate different players and a different style. Let
me just address that. So a few people have tweeted that at me as well. Changing your formation. If you let me finish speaking, Zane, changing your formation isn't changing your style of play. Moving Salah slightly wider or playing him more in field isn't the element of your play we're talking about. It's the high line. Whether you play with 2 up front, 3 up front, 5 up front, 6 up front, I don't care. Your high line and the ease to play through your midfield and get behind your defenders and create chances in every single game you've played this season, barring Bournemouth where you smashed them and barring City when you drop deeper, every team has opened you up on multiple occasions. That element of your system needs to change. Not whether you play 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-4-2 diamond. It doesn't matter.
No, Terry,
you're being exposed in the same way in every single game. And the first goal was an anomaly, right? Gomez.
How's Klopp getting the blame for the first goal? Is he going to think that Gomez is going to do some dumbness like that?
I'm not blaming him for the first goal, but you're
blaming VVD though. You're blaming VVD somehow.
I blame Go watch the replay from the kind of almost bird's eye view they give you. You saw Rodrigo was about 3 yards behind Van Dijk when the ball was being played. Rodrigo's watching the play to see if anything happens. Van Dijk, for some reason, is looking in the other direction, pointing. Then he notices it and he gets caught out.
See, I didn't know football. What do you mean? You just exposed yourself. The reason why he's looking at Robertson, he was like to Robertson, make sure you're in position because when Allison gets it, he's going to pass it over to you. So make sure
I understand what he was doing.
Why he was looking at one.
Zane, I understand. He wasn't expecting. You have got to be alert at all times. What he did, it's the equivalent of a boxer throwing a feint because he's going to try something, but getting caught cold, not seeing a punch come in. Van Dijk wasn't the main culprit in that. It was predominantly Joe Gomez's blind pass.
So why are you chatting his name then?
Because when did I check his name? In my tweet.
VVD was partly responsible. He wasn't paying attention.
Partly. Most goals are never one individual person's fault. There's normally 1, 2, 3 people involved. VVD, I would be looking massively at Joe Gomez, but VVD wasn't alert like Rodriguez was. By your own logic, Rodriguez should have been going, right, I'm not going to bother be alert here. What I'm actually going to do is run to Robertson because that's how they're going to play the ball out the back. My friend, let's go back to the other side of things. That goal isn't on your manager specifically, but you then consider, hang on and let me fucking talk, Zane. You're getting on my tits, son. The second, after you scored your equalizer, 2 chances Leeds created. The first one, the header that hit the post. You then have the opportunity where I want to say it was Harrison was played through, slightly heavy touch on the right. Alisson saves it. Those types of chances you have conceded in abundance every single game, barring the City and Bournemouth match. This is a system issue, irrespective of your formation. So what have you got to say? And this is the only thing I want to hear from you, or there's no point being here. What responsibility has Klopp got in terms of fixing this and creating this? How much of this blame do you put on Klopp? I want to hear you answer a question.
The problem I have at the moment in answering that question is he's limited in what he can put on the pitch. Now, that's not an excuse. Them are the facts. So if he had a full squad and we were having this question, I could quite easily say,
Zane, let me interject. I'm very sorry. Beginning of the season, you had a full squad, right?
We don't at the moment.
At the beginning of the season, did you have a full squad?
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Mostly,
yes, you did. And Fulham did this to you, and Crystal Palace did this to you. Stop the bullshit.
What part of them being tired from playing 60 games, nearly winning the quad, 2 games, bro?
So you're now blaming fatigue.
How are you not taking that into factor in account?
So you're now blaming the opening 2 games on fatigue. The opening game of the season is because they were tired.
Mentally, yes, because this has been the shortest summer break in history because of the World Cup in the winter. What part of that logic do you not get?
Wait, can I have a go? Can I have a go? Zane, do you remember me when you said...
You're deflecting.
Hey, Zane.
You've been
one sec, my guy. Zane, you remember my face? You remember my face, innit? When you like say back to life, back to reality. That's you, bro. Bro, everyone's got injuries. Everyone, typically, the teams that are always in the top 4 play about 60 odd games, just like you, my guy. Just because you play an extra couple games, why is it only to you? Look. 1 sec. City got loads of injuries. They had Haaland injured today. They got Cancelo that was injury, and so forth and so forth. Foden wasn't even match fit. Either way, he also carried a knock. More knocks as well. Stones has come in from what?
Walker,
a week.
Phillips.
Walker, Calvin Phillips, not even there. Man United, no Varane, no Marcel for most of the season. Little injuries here and there. Not even Van der Beek or Maguire, another defender. No Wan-Bissaka. Shush. That's not a question. You're a big man, so answer like a big man. So, no right back in Wan-Bissaka, fam. Delo's played every single minute. Every single minute. Luke Shaw comes off, don't get no more minutes, and he comes in and has a flying game. Why can't you play? This quad team of yours are supposed to be good. When are you just going to be like, you know what? This team actually just might be shit, bruv. That's to blame. Stop deflecting my team and just go with it, man. Sometimes you have to just own up, man.
So, big man chat. This is my answer. This is my answer to that, bruv. I've really said, I think we've got a good shot at the Champions League. We've already qualified. And shit, even though we're playing shit, we've qualified for the group stage. And I said already that we'll get our shit together at some point late in the season, probably after the World Cup, because quite a lot of our players aren't going to go, right? And again, it alludes to the fact that I'm saying they're tired. So having that break and them having time to get themselves ready. And I've also said, we're going to finish 4th place. There's no way. There is no way we're not going to finish 4th.
Zane, you're just saying words, Zane. You're just saying words. You're saying
facts.
No. If buts and maybes. We want to know, how do you get to that point? Listen, managers have injuries all the time, yeah? Managers of all different levels. Why is Klopp the only manager that is not accountable for how his team plays when there's injuries? Because if you've got major injuries in your squad, guess what? You as a manager, it's your job to find out a formula to get results with the players that you have. That I don't care about depleted squad, because he's still playing a foolish way and not getting the results. but it's his job.
How is that?
Make sure, no. He is his. How is it foolish way? You've lost to Leeds and Nottingham, my brother. That's why it's foolish.
Right. Okay.
That is why it's foolish. So he's playing a way that is not getting you results. But you're there stating you got this, you've got that, mental fatigue, injuries. But he is supposed to be the guy who takes all of that and figures a way to win.
He's not Jesus, bro. He's not going to win.
Zayn, how is he going to win, Zayn? How is he going to win?
KJ,
I'll tell you how he's
I'm
going
to answer it. I'm just going to say something as well here. Jurgen Klopp is a world-class manager. Jurgen Klopp has been one of the best managers in the world for the past 5, 6, 7 years beyond. For the last decade, he's been brilliant. There's no doubt about it. When you guys were at the peak of your powers and you were rotating your team, you were winning games. I remember quite a lot of League Cup games and FA Cup games where your youngsters would come in and you'd win. It was see how good that system is. No matter what players come in or out, the system prevails. Now suddenly, it's the system's only relevant if you've got your best 11 players that are fully fit and didn't play loads of games in the previous campaign, as an example. And it strikes me as strange that you're meant to defend your club, Zayn, but at the same time we want a little bit of realism, and we don't actually get any football answers from you ever. All we ever get from you is bruv Arsenal shit, and that's pretty much it. And it's like there's nothing. You're never
correct. Yeah, I've actually given you a factual answer as to why and when it's going to get better.
Well, then that's cool. I want to ask some of the rest of the panel here, like, from your point of view, Kaz, what is wrong in your view? All banter aside, what is wrong in your opinion with Liverpool? Is this players, system, both? Like, they look awful right now.
All right. The players only want to turn up when they want to turn up. I think Klopp has failed to, like most managers, like Pep, like Fergie. They've always refreshed the team one way or another. Got a sector. I think he hasn't realized that as a manager. He done that at Dortmund, didn't really refresh properly, as you know, when he had the sole players, Lewandowski, so forth and so forth, Goetze, all of them type of guys, never refreshed, went in the bin. It's like it's the same chain again at Liverpool. It hasn't really refreshed the team, same kind of team. I think where he went wrong, he should have really changed up when Wijnaldum left. He got Naby Keita, don't get me wrong, but I think he should have got a bit more. I think the personal player, he failed to recognize that because he thought the team was playing so well. And to be honest, after what they did last season, you'd probably think that. But I think a great manager would recognize that he needs things to refresh. And also heard, Zayn, as well from your fan base saying it wasn't really FSG fault. Like they said that there was money to spend on players, but apparently it was this arrogance that didn't want to get another player because he's too busy fixated on getting the first target, which was Bellingham. And I think that's quite naive, maybe a little bit arrogant in a way. Like I think you signed a player in Nunes, which you shouldn't have signed. I think that was more in response to Haaland rather than what the team really needed. I would say a different type of player like a Firmino. I just don't reckon your transfer recruitment of the last couple years, he hasn't really looked like the Liverpool players we used to see that were coming in maybe 4 years ago. If that's me being honest, like it doesn't look like that type of player. Like who else come in before Nunes as well? I don't think Diaz really suits Liverpool for what you needed. I think he's a great player though. He's a great player, but just not for Liverpool. I think you needed more of a bit more like a Mane, like a cold killer, another inside forward kind of player, like another Salah, not a winger. I just don't think it's not just Mane. Mane was coming to his end. They got rid of him at the right time for me. It's not Mane. I just think it's down to your recruitment. I think it's a bit of everything, Terry, to be fair. Recruitment, Klopp, FSG, and it's just all crumbling. And as I said, FSG are the new Glazers, and you're going to be back to reality real soon. And I love it. Paper in the cracks.
You lot, okay.
Look, I don't speak on my club. We got 2 games in hand against you.
Guys, I'm going to go to some super chats here. Terry trying so hard to not bust out laughing. Virgil van Disney ain't the guy anymore. Curtis Jones over Salah, they once said, do me a favor. I don't even want to burst out laughing. Like, everyone knows I take how fans are actually treated by football clubs really seriously, probably more seriously than I should. And I just sick and tired of seeing people defend individuals that are mistreating them. It's weird to me. I like when Liverpool lose solely because of Husam. Where is your big talk now? Liverpool, calm and watch Liverpool fall. Do you know what's interesting about it? Like, at least he showed up today. None of the other Liverpool fans in our group chat are here. Not one has turned up. Cowards. I don't even care if Tom Little's out with his family for his birthday. Coward, son. Leave your mum, leave your dad, leave your girlfriend, get on the terrace. Coward. Because if you'd have won, I bet you'd have called in. Fam, hard question needs to be asked of Klopp. really can't really rely on past glories. Klopp ain't got no plan B. Don't blame FSG. Klopp needs to act. Give them tears. Give me them tears. Liverpool fans is what AA says. Best team in history. Yeah, that ends that bloody quest of this being the greatest ever Premier League team. That's done. Jimmy Somerville is a baller. This is true. Arsenal broke Zayn. That sounds like an adult movie. It could be true. Terry got some Leicester and Blackburn fans on to speak on the one Prem title level. Liverpool 9 BF. Liverpool 9 BFC. Bournemouth FC. Ha ha ha. The good old days. Yeah. Salah scored and created big chances. He was good, is what Black has got to say here. I don't think he was good today at all, and I love him as a player. It's not the shortest preseason in history. It's the first normal preseason in 3 years, bruv, is what Cedric Levy has got to say. Top 4 for Liverpool is done. Europa looks a push, is what Joshua Lovelace has got to say. Zayn chat in pure Waz fam. Klopp's tactics are dead and stale. He needs to change or be sacked. Klopp out will start trending soon without change. You go on, Sam.
And yeah, Zayn, you said earlier Liverpool will finish in the top 4. You're confident. Based on what evidence this season that you've seen from this team, will Liverpool finish in the top 4? Based on what evidence? Tell me why.
Basically, do you remember when we had all those injuries, we had no defenders? Did we not come third? Chelsea bottles thing. We went 10 games with 8 wins and 2 draws, and we got third. So
you know what, Zayn? That's a great shout. When Man United won their first Premier League title in 92-93 season, we lost our opening 2 games of the season and went on to win the league. So based on that,
this is not history FC. This is just literally 2-3 years ago.
That's history.
That's history. That's history.
So you're here
don't talk about
crying about injuries about this season, why you're doing poorly, but then quote a season where you had injuries to say why you're gonna do good. Zayn, that's why you make
you face what I do. I like you, man. I don't pluck shit out my ass like you lot. I look at trends, analysis, look at all passes, and all that kind of stuff, and I logically analyze and come up with facts. For example, I said that Chelsea manager was going to get sacked. Me. And what happened, bro? You were all like, no. All the Chelsea fans like, he's never going to get sacked. So, excuse me.
Bro, you know that song that Stormzy wrote where the lyric in it was like, man turned up looking like someone's dad. This is Zayn, isn't it? That was written about Zayn.
Yeah, see the point I made. You're not acknowledging it. You're deflecting.
Zayn, no one said you don't. I think you do understand football, but I think when it comes to Liverpool, you are so delusional. It's unbelievable. You make Igal look like Socrates when you come to talking about.
Who said Liverpool wasn't meant to win a cup team last season? Me, bro. Everyone saying you're not.
I'm muting you now, Zayn, because it's boring. Klopp getting sacked in the morning is what Guna Sam has got to say here. Listen, I'm going to say this about. What are you saying, Neeks? Will Liverpool make the top 4 from this point in your opinion?
Nope. Listen, I said it a few weeks ago. Anyway, I said that space has opened up now. When people were talking, well, can Man United get in top 4? I had them 6th at the start of the season. Liverpool have left the door open, wide open. And there's about 3 teams trying to step through. Newcastle, Man United, Chelsea hanging on for their life. Like, Liverpool are doing everything they possibly can to keep that door wide. Chelsea lost. Chelsea said, come true, Liverpool. And Liverpool said, no, not today. Like, you lot don't want top 4. And I'm cool with that. I'm very, very comfortable with that. So, for me, I can't. They will have to do a madness in January for me to get top 4. They're not going to do it. We know they're not going to do it.
You know,
so
yeah, for me,
I actually don't think
potentially we've got more chance of getting 4 than Liverpool.
No way, bro.
Wait, no. Listen, Zayn, you don't say why you are better than us, but okay, whatever. But I actually don't think they need to go into January. I actually don't need to think they need to go into January and get all these mad transfers for another chance. Klopp just needs to change the way you play from this open style to be. If they are more compact, if they plan the counter, players like Salah and Nunes would thrive, and you'll get results. That's all they need to do. But they could
do that, but they're not going to do that. So
I disagree. I feel like I don't know why I should just. You know what? fuck it, I'm gonna jump on it. Work with you. Yeah, go on, talk your shit, KJ. I'm with you on that one.
No, speak the truth. You know you agree with me. You agree with me, bro.
Zane, I appreciate you coming on, mate. We're gonna get Ben on, rotating some more Liverpool fans. Top man, Zane. Thank you very much indeed. Ben's here. He was at the game today. What are you saying, Ben?
I wish I wasn't, mate. I wish I wasn't. With my brother, driving home now. Went on the tickets this morning. Went on the ticket site. Saw that there was some available. Couldn't help myself. But worst mistake I've ever made. I tweeted just after the game that felt like an all-time low for this whole era. I don't know what happens from now on, but I think something big will happen. And to be honest, I think he'll go after this season. I'm going to be honest. I think we've seen how this Klopp era ends in other clubs. You know, the Dortmund thing springs to mind, and it just feels like the players aren't playing for him anymore. And the players that have become heroes for us now are almost turning into villains, and they just don't seem bothered. Like you look at Fabinho, right, and all of the midfielders this season have rightfully been criticised, but that guy just doesn't look like he wants to be at this club anymore. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know how he's turned this bad overnight, but it's not just him either, to be honest, but he's the main one for me that's just completely fallen off. And yeah, I saw the record for this season after the same amount of games as Roy Hodgson's season, and it's literally exactly the same, which is just it's worrying. And I don't know have you got anything to add, Nathan? You've never been on the show, but have you got anything to say?
It's just like this is worse to me because I was there when we got beat by Northampton under Hodgson. I was there against Wigan under Kenny Dalglish, and to be honest, mate, this right now, because these guys should be should be heroes. They should be guys that we worship. We should be singing it every week. They should, for what they've done for this club, and now they just can't be arsed, and that hurts me. Like in the day, we had Gerrard and a load of crap. Really, these are world class players, and they're just not bothered anymore, and that really gets me going. And that's about all I've got to say, to be honest.
Do you know what? It's interesting hearing you guys talk about it. Like you're actually there, you're at the ground, you're seeing it in person, and it is. Neeks has been to many games, I know, and I know Sam's been to watch. I know everyone on here has been to see their team play a number of times in a stadium. You do get a different feeling. It's different from watching football at home. It's interesting to hear you say that it's like the players are not playing for Jurgen Klopp. So maybe that's the issue. Maybe it isn't. I'm always willing to concede this. Maybe it isn't the system. Maybe it's just a disconnect now between the manager and the players, almost like, listen, 7 years we have worked our arse off playing your football. Maybe they just can't do it anymore. Maybe it's just a case of we loved it, but it's too much now. It's too intense. We want a break. We want something different. And, what's the old expression? Like a change is as good as a rest. And I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp left tomorrow, not that he's going to, and another world-class manager came in. I think some of these Liverpool players would click back into gear almost instantly, mate. Maybe based on what Ben and that have said around maybe they're just not trying. I mean, that's an interesting take, isn't it, Neeks, around fans at the ground thinking the players are just not running for him anymore.
I'm surprised to hear that, to be fair. Because, it's not something that I looked at and thought, oh, Liverpool, they're not actually trying. Because I'm seeing, like, Fabinho get run past. Obviously, we know Trent's issues defensively. Van Dijk. But I was looking at it more on a technical level. Maybe defensively XYZ is not good enough, or legs fatigue. I think Fabinho's been running to the ground over the last few years, and maybe it's caught up on them. That's the way I was looking at it. But
just a quick stat: Liverpool were outrun by 11 kilometers by all the Leeds United 11 kilometers. That says a lot.
That's the thing. I think it's very feasible that they're not running as much as they were, but I don't know if it's a conscious decision. I think it might be a case of they just sometimes when like I think when Pep Guardiola got to the end of his Barcelona reign, and it was like, we can't do any more. We've done it so much, so hard for that long. We can't give any more. And the managers stepped aside and said they needed.
I've got nothing left. Yeah.
And I think it may be, and it may take a new manager to change the style. I can't see Klopp changing his style. A lot of managers these days are slaves to their philosophy, and unless he's going to get back like Pep does to get players who can play the same philosophy, it will take a new manager to change the style. I don't think it will be Klopp.
Do you know what's interesting about that, Nix, as well? Like, it's one of the reasons why when people talk about Premier, I mean, I know Sky Sports actually tweeted this question the other day: who's the greatest manager in Premier League history? This is why when I've heard Pep speak about Sir Alex, and I've heard many other great managers, they don't talk about how many trophies he won. They don't speak about the Champions Leagues he won. They didn't speak about the records that he broke. They go, I can't believe he managed to motivate himself and keep one team motivated for 25 years in one place. Most managers don't understand how you do that. It's so hard to stay in one place that long and keep a team at the very top for a quarter of a century. That in itself is the achievement that all other managers look at Sir Alex Ferguson in awe of. And as football fans, we tend to ignore that. Like that isn't a big thing. But you look at, that's what Pep's doing right now at City, by the way, is top class. Like lasting this long and maintaining that is huge, because a lot of people said he was a 3 to 4 year manager tops, and he's breaking that mold now. We're joined here by Monts, of course, big Liverpool fan. Ben, who called in a moment ago that's at the game today, suggests that the feeling from some people at Anfield is the players are just not wanting to work for, run for, play for Klopp anymore. What's your take on that, mate?
I don't want to say they're down in tools, because there were good moments in the game. If I say what's really on my mind, they're going to call me a fake fan. And I have a lot more respect. And I have a lot more respect for your show as well. So it's really
no. Just hang on. Just don't drop any C bombs, and you're fine.
Yeah. Personally, a lot of these players are done. Fabinho needs to go in the summer. Personally, seen enough of that. I'm not going to dig out every single individual, but I tried to tell you lot. The guy that we brought in the summer to put away chances because he's not good at anything else didn't do that today. So I had to take a walk in it, but I hope you Nunes fans are happy. I hope you lot are fucking happy. I honestly hope you got what you wanted today. You know what I'm saying? And then when he scores a goal next week against Tottenham and it don't fucking matter, then I hope you can, you come back to me and you say that, oh yeah, Monts, I told you so. You know what I'm saying? I told a lot of Liverpool fans that there is so much more that's going on above the players. Klopp is dejected. Look at his press conferences. Look at his interviews. The man has finished himself. He might have to walk, bro. He might have to walk.
I've got a manager for you, Monts. Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard's available.
Shut the fuck up, Kaz. He just needs to walk, bro. Like, I'll be so real.
At 11 o'clock, you're finished.
Right.
You're finished at 11. You know that.
Anywho, the worst thing is the players that he had at his disposal. I don't feel like he could have chosen a different 11. So I wouldn't even put the starting 11 so much on Klopp. The blame's on the players as well, but the in-game substitutions to take off Trent and bring on Milner, and for the goal to come down the right side, and to leave Joe Gomez on the pitch, the fucking car crash waiting to happen, game in, game out, because people are still living off that stupid performance at Man City. The one masterclass he puts in against Man City, and man them think he's changed. Man them think he's back. Unfortunately, injuries destroy players, and Joe Gomez, unfortunately, is one of them. The train is done for a lot of these, but a lot of these men are done. They're done, and it's like the consistency, forget about it. Liverpool fans, you lot need to just reevaluate the season. The second you reevaluate yourselves and your expectations, I said this a while on the Top 6 show, reevaluate. This club is not where it was. The owners are not sustainable, and it's obvious now. I'm not gonna say too much more because I'm gonna sound like a broken record. But you fucking Darwin Nunes fans, look what we've had to do to accommodate this dickhead, and now look where we are. Fucking pricks, blood. They've been coming for me all week. Terry. All week they've been coming for me. Dickheads, fam.
Do you know what? Seeing Monts like this, considering when I met him 6 months ago, he was saying Jurgen Quad. It's mad, like what a difference 6 months makes.
Football is a cruel game.
It's a cruel mistress. It's a cruel mistress. We've all.
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired.
Yeah. Terry, you better expand the show. I don't know what that means. But thank you.
More people on.
I got some super chats here. I've got to do. Blood on Klopp and FSG's hand, no doubt whatsoever, is what Omar says. Looks like Liverpool run out of inhalers, is what I joke has got to say. Zane chatting. Oh, sorry, already had that one there about Zane. Is Van Disney even amongst the top 5 centre backs in Prem history? No, he never was. He never was. And I'm not digging him out. He was the best in the world, in my opinion. He was. But John Terry was at a world-class level for what, a decade? Rio, a decade. Sol Campbell, pretty much his whole, over a decade, from Tottenham right through to his Arsenal career. You know, I would even argue, how long was Jaap Stam here for? 3 years or 2?
Longer, more than two.
Maybe 4.
99 to 03.
Yeah, like Jaap Stam and Van Dijk, because of time spent in the and Jaap Stam won back a three-peat as well. Like, he's not in the top 5 of all time. That's not a dig. He's brilliant. But if he dropped, the injury didn't help him either. Chike says also this is the first time that Leeds beat Liverpool at Anfield in Leeds United's history. If it is, I cannot effing believe this because City couldn't. Crazy. Which can't be the first time in Leeds history. Leeds used to have very good teams in the 60s and 70s and stuff, but definitely maybe in the Prem era, maybe in the Premier League era it is. Sorry, KJ, go on.
No, I was about to say, when your team are breaking those negative records, there is issues. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at Arsenal and Man United in our down periods, every single season there's like 5 negative records broken because you're in that. It's like when you start to see these negative records starting to being broken over and over, you are in trouble. That's what I'm saying.
You're on that decline. You're on that decline.
Yeah, Liverpool are the new banter FC. Hashtag Jurgen Flock. Liverpool are shite right now, low, but I still believe they will make top 4. If this is a team that can win 10 games in a row, if there's a team that can do it, it's City and Liverpool.
I see at the start of this season, even after I could say that, but we're 12 games in, 13 games. I don't know where everyone's played. This Liverpool team cannot win 10 games in a row. This City team may not even win 10 games in a row. They may not even. But Liverpool got no chance of winning 10 games in a row this season. Sorry, they're not the same team. They're not the same team. Something's changed.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're just that little bit old. I think as well, they're that bit older, and being that little bit older, as an example, is you just can't keep doing it. You can't keep bouncing back. It just doesn't work that way. Evening, Terry and everyone at Liverpool done. Do you, Van Dijk? He is playing for the World Cup. Hopefully, India finish my weekend better than they did last weekend. Obviously, I assume talking cricket there.
Yeah.
Look, maybe he is, but I don't know. Do you know what's interesting about sports? Someone who competed myself at a high level in martial arts. I feel like if you play a sport and you're like half-hearted, that's typically when you get injured. Like I don't know, me personally, like I used to feel like when I used to go in for slide tackles, if you're going full like properly, I never got hurt. It was always when you bottled it and pulled out that you got hurt. So I don't know if he's doing that, to be fair. Dude, what are you smoking? Trent can't defend. Why are you taking your anger out on Milner? He is the better defender. I think that must have been Husam earlier on in the show.
Pardon me?
Do you mind?
I think Husam earlier on in the show said he was having a go at him.
I can't lie. I thought Trent wasn't that bad. It's when Trent came off and the pressure came off a little bit. I just thought that Milner's substitution baffled me. I actually thought that I get it. Trent, it was in behind runs from the left wing, Jack Harrison. But I thought Trent done all right today. And I'm not even his biggest fan. It was all right. I thought that Milner thing.
Kaz, you're right. Sorry, he was fine. I don't know what you're thinking. If you want to go and win the game, because look where we are on the table. You can't afford to be drawing these games at home to Leeds. So why then do you bring on Milner for stability for a man that wasn't even stable in the end? It doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense. In-game decision making again.
No, I agree. Spurs talk show here. Big up yourselves over there. Says Newcastle 16 points, 18 out of 18.
Big up Sean, man.
Beat Spurs, drew with Man United and City. Lost one game. Good manager playing despite injuries. Jan around the corner with a blank checkbook available. Well, not quite, but yeah, I get your point. It is crazy to put them. Is it crazy to put them in the title race? Yeah, they're not. They won't be in a title race, Newcastle, in my opinion. But they are a serious outfit right now. And this is the thing with Jurgen Klopp getting excuses of injuries and tiredness. I know they went to all the games last year, but every team's suffering with injuries. Every team is suffering with tiredness, players getting ready for the World Cup. There isn't one team that isn't going through that. Yes, they played some more games last year than other sides, but you guys were a victory against Madrid and a couple of goals away in terms of Villa conceding from being the greatest club team in the history of English football. Like, you can't go from that to this and just go, should we play an extra 10 games? Yeah. That extra 10 games isn't what's creating this fall off, in my opinion. I think that's too much. Samuel, you there, bro?
No, it looks like you'll come back.
He might back in a sec. Getting top 4 will not save Liverpool. They are starting to feel like Wenger post 06, where talking about him leaving was considered an abomination. I mean, how far are you, Monts, from talking about Klopp being? I know you said he might leave. Do you feel like, what's your take on Liverpool fans saying they think he needs to be sacked?
Yeah, sorry, I think the signal's a little bit bad where I'm at.
No worries, bro. Yeah, we'll come back to you in a sec, Sam. Yeah, go on, Monts. Ask that for us, bro.
Don't blame him. Don't blame him. Someone says they're Klopp out, I don't blame them. I'm on the brink myself. I was on the brink 3 weeks ago. I'm on the brink now. Personally, I think that this club is beyond saving. With the current owners and the current manager, one of them has to go. One of them has to go. And right now, with the in-game substitutions, it's not like FSG can put on their wrist tape, cover their tattoos, and slap on their shin pads, bro. You know what I'm saying? The FSG aren't on the sidelines right now. Klopp had his money to spend in the summer. He had his money to spend in the summer this season. This season is on Klopp. This summer is on Klopp. And because he's like the father we never had for enough of you Liverpool fans and myself, he's struggling to see it. But the longer you take, the more painful it's going to get. So one of them has to walk. One of them has to walk.
Yeah, I agree. I think this season's on Klopp. This whole thing that was been lingering from... Yeah, the whole thing that's been lingering, even when you won the league, even when you missed out by 1 point and 2 points, like FSG have been lingering and the stink has been there. But let the PL perfume cover up the stench. Yeah. FSG as an ownership absolutely reek. And if it wasn't for Coutinho leaving for how much he left, and if it wasn't for Klopp being as talented as he is as a manager, being world class, you guys would be basically QPR with heritage. Spending
100%.
all these P's, and there's nothing to show for it. Like FSG, I think is bigger than your players, bigger than Klopp, and your fans have been on this thing of I'm not going to challenge them because they got us a PL, they got us a Champions League.
No, because
you don't matter no more.
It's the span of when they arrived. It's the span of when they arrived, KJ, bro. Because I've always been FSG out. I just can't keep saying it season in, season out. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't keep saying it every season. But we can't say, let's just shut up because you finally got our Premier League. We got our Champions League. We're out the rut. We're not out the rut. From when they came in at the start of last decade, how long did it take us to do anything significant? How long did it take? So if you look at the span of trophies we've won compared to when they first came in, compared to now, it's not that good.
But this is why, for me, obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. But that's why I think anyone say Jurgen Klopp out, I think it is crazy. Obviously, you said you understand it, but I think it is crazy because I think you won those trophies in spite of FSG because of Jurgen Klopp, and I think one season, 11 games, 12 games, whatever, 15 games, all competitions, is not enough for me to undo, or I'm not even to say undo, but to forget what he's done over the last 6 years.
How many times have you seen him undo something? How many times have you seen Jurgen Klopp fuck something up and make it better again? How many times have you seen him do it?
But I think he deserves.
How many times, bro? How many times?
I haven't studied his career, but
so there's no.
Okay, I'll give you. I'll tell you. Not last season. The season before, we had all those injuries, and he kept playing the high line. Was like, why are you putting Fabinho and Henderson at the back? It don't make sense. In the end, he shuffled things around, gave Nat Phillips, etc. You went on that long unbeaten run and got back into the top 4. The season after, you nearly won the quad. So It just in the last 2 years, he's shown that he can learn from his own mistakes. I'm not saying he's ever going to get you back to where you were, but I think he deserves if anyone deserves the opportunity to be given that chance, it's Jurgen Klopp. Because I said, you won all those trophies. You've been successful over the last 7 years because of Klopp. Nothing else. Nobody else. He's the reason why you have been that successful.
I'm aware, but you realize the reason we fell into yes, we had the injuries, but we fell deeper and dark into that dark pit of 6 home losses because we decided to play 2 DMs in defense, right? Who decided to do that? Klopp or FSG?
Jurgen Klopp, man.
Jurgen Klopp decided to do it.
But then he fixed it.
He panicked. When you get, he panicked and made it worse. Yes, he fixed it. But again, is it a massive fix or did the players just come back from injury? A couple players just came back from injury, bro. That's all it was. That's all it was. It weren't no masterclass. It didn't take a genius. It didn't take a genius to say, Thiago, you're now fit, so you can now be our supply midfielder.
For Liverpool to finish 3rd that year when you did, that was more than players come back from injury because all your players didn't come back. Van Dijk was out for the whole season. Nat Phillips, people were giving Nat Phillips England shouts. Nat Phillips is nowhere to be seen. When Fergie was getting man like Johnny Evans, and he's a good player, Danny Welbeck, Christie, them man got Premier League medals. That's because the manager, Tom Cleverley. That's because the manager was able to make something out of nothing. Klopp made a mess of that season, but then he made something out of it, and then you went and got the course. So I'm saying, as evidence of can he turn things around? Yeah, it took over a course of a season. I think yes, which means that after 11 games in the Premier League, for people to say, and obviously you're not necessarily saying it now, but for people to say Jurgen Klopp, I think it's mad because anyone you bring in now may get you top 4, but I don't think there's a manager out there who's winning anything close to what Jurgen Klopp has won under this ownership. So what's the point of changing? Really, you've got to answer with anyone else to win anything under this ownership.
Personally, we're done either way because if you do get rid of Klopp, anyone we bring in is not going to settle for FSG as owners. Any manager that requires a certain budget to bring a certain quality out of a team to challenge for the biggest trophies in the game will not stand for the money that for the financial structure that FSG bring to Liverpool. That's why I said one of them needs to go. I'm not straight Jurgen Klopp out, but as I said earlier,
I know you're not. But I'm saying,
you know what? To add on to Neeks' point as well, I don't think there's anyone that comes in that will enable what Klopp does with FSG because it's a match made in heaven. It's a manager that doesn't put enough pressure on the owners, and it's owners that are stubborn. I think if another manager comes in, they won't accept how the model of FSG, and that's why.
Don't 1 second, KJ. Don't be so sure about that. There's a lot of managers out there who would love just the opportunity to manage Liverpool that they will toe the party line. And I give
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Steven Gerrard, Tuchel, Pochettino, the World Cup, Frank will jump at the chance.
What I'm saying
my God, I got one. Why don't you bring back Benitez? Perfect.
He will challenge though. He will challenge ownership. He definitely will.
Go get us that Champions League at the end of the year or some shit.
He's done it with a worse squad.
I got a bounce in a bit, man.
All right, see you.
Appreciate it, man. By the way, this is a bit too nice. Neeks. Cheers, man.
I don't. Sacking Klopp's an interesting one. I agree. I kind of agree with Neeks to a point where it all depends on who comes in and replaces him. Like there is no one out there who he would look at and say is, barring Pep, there's no one out there on paper that's better than him. But sometimes a change is as good as a rest. However, though, you could also get rid of him, bring someone else in, and they do a worse job than he's doing right now, and you regress further and everything else. Igal's joined us now. What are you saying, bro?
Oh my God, what happened to Virgil? The guy lost his first game at Liverpool. That's crazy. Yo, give it up to him. Give it up to him. You know what? It's been 70 games. Honestly, that's impressive. But you know what? It was bound to break eventually. And this team today looked lack of confidence. Liverpool did not look like they were going to get that goal. Every minute that the game went on and on, you felt like Leeds were able to have one more chance to snatch at it, and they took that chance, and they ended up winning the game. And you know what? I said this the last time I was on. I think Terry, this Liverpool team are who we think they are. They're inconsistent. They're banged up, and they're going to be like this until they get their players back after the World Cup. And don't expect them not to drop points every game week, because for them to pick up 3 points, you know what? Pray for you guys versus Napoli. You're probably facing one of the toughest teams in the world in that next game. And if you guys beat Napoli, that would be an impressive win. But right now, the way you guys are playing, it looks like you're gonna probably lose to Napoli, right? And you're probably gonna drop points now until the World Cup another time also. But yeah, it's not even salt in the wounds. It's just a reality. Just accept it that until you get your players back, this is what you're gonna have to see, and it's gonna be a tough road.
It's interesting as well. Sorry, it's interesting as well because they go away to Tottenham next, Liverpool. Lose that game. Obviously, Tottenham then pull away from them by 3 further points. Like that's a mathematical certainty. At the same time, Newcastle that weekend are away to Southampton. I would bet on them winning that game as an example. Chelsea play Arsenal at home. So one of those two teams is they're either both dropping points or one of them is pulling further away. And Man United are playing. I'm not even sure who we're playing, actually. I actually don't know.
Villa, I think.
Villa, yeah, we're playing Villa away.
Emery's first game.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got Villa. I mean, they could find themselves conceivably 11 points away from the top 4, nearly at the midpoint of the season. And with how well the reason, listen, they won that 10-game unbeaten, that 10-game winning streak, which is what got them back into the top 4. But what helped them during that terrible season is that so many teams fighting for top 4 were far more inconsistent than they are now. People didn't pull away from them enough. And I feel that the Newcastles and Tottenhams and Arsenals, maybe even Man United, are not going to be as inconsistent points-wise this year. Performance one thing, but points thing's another. And as much as I've been on Tottenham about being unsustainable, Liverpool are the most unsustainable team in the top 6 by a country mile because of the amount of opportunities you concede. But yeah, it's going to be interesting next week with those 2 big games.
Terry, there was also...
I was going to ask a question to Liverpool fans quickly. So obviously you got Napoli next and then Spurs after. I think your first team probably don't beat Napoli. I don't know if you're going to lose, but don't beat Napoli anyway.
We're through. We don't need to play.
Yeah. So would you just rest your whole team and potentially get battered?
Play Clark and them, man. Yeah, play Clark
and potentially get battered at Anfield going into the Spurs game.
Yeah, we can hold 8
because it's a dilemma, isn't it? Because if you go to the back of a 2-1 loss to Leeds and a 3-1 battering at home to Napoli,
it's not a dilemma, bro. Because we go through either way. We can hold.
But Monts, you need to remember, there's only a 30-man squad, so all of the youth players we'd love to chuck in. We can't chuck in.
You can. The under 21 rule, like, they don't have to be registered for the squad, so you can literally just you could.
Yeah, you can. As I said, we can hold 8. We can hold 10, bro. Like at the end of the day,
don't you think that would affect going into the Spurs game? Just everything, the mood around the club.
They're affected already.
No,
because
I'm just saying, bro. Look at the body language of certain man. You see Trent's face when you come off the bench. I'll go in a minute, but listen, like these man, like every man is everyone's looking the other way for answers. Everyone's looking Virgil, looking at Trent. Trent's looking at Milner. Milner's looking at him. Everyone's looking at each other. They don't know what to do. Everyone is clueless, bro. Everyone's clueless. And Terry, you was talking about what the difference was that everyone else around us was doing bad when we managed to get ourselves back into that top 4. But you know what the difference was? Mo Salah, the catalyst. And right now, Mo Salah is not the difference maker for Liverpool. We also don't have Sadio Mane. So a lot of it rests on who else? Not Diaz because he's injured. Not Jota, but who's going to score the goals to get us out of the situation like Mo Salah did that season that you were talking about? Who's going to do it?
And this is the Mane situation. Alisson. Like, this is the Mane situation. Like, so many people played Mane and Salah off against each other, and my view was that they were both so important because sometimes they were both in form at the same time. But generally, what you had, if Salah was going for a down period, Mane was scoring goals, winning you games. If Mane was going for a poor period, Salah was winning you games. All the top teams have that. They don't just rely on. Generally, it's a fallacy that clubs rely on one player. Like not top teams anyway. That you always have one. You always have 2 or 3 that you rely on to win you the games. As an example, you know, the season where Van Persie came in, he won us the league. He did, but Rooney was brilliant that year, especially from a creative point of view. And people kind of forget that element of it. and just put it all on the main goal scorer. So I agree with where you're coming from, mate. I really, really do. Gal, question for you, bro. Yeah, go on, bruv.
I'm going to take up, by the way.
Cheers, Monts. Man.
Big up, Monts.
I have one prediction. I don't think it's even that big of a prediction at this point. It could be a reality. They drop points in every game from now until the end of the season, except for that Derby County game. Genuinely,
now at the end of the season, they're not going to win a game.
No. World Cup. Until the World Cup.
So who they got then? So they got Tottenham.
We also play Southampton. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just go through these fixtures. Sorry. Yeah. So you got Tottenham next in the league. Then it's Southampton at home. Then Villa away. Oh, sorry. No, I lied. So it's just 2 more games. So they play Tottenham and then they're at home to Southampton. I mean, they could. I mean, it's literally 2 games, yeah.
No, and I'm including the Champions League game, of course. So I'm saying those.
Yeah, but that's kind of a dead rubber.
Yeah, they're through in it, so that doesn't really.
Because they'll have to be Napoli. They'll have to be Napoli 5-0 to overturn.
Yeah,
5-0, 5-1, something like that to overturn.
The only thing that matters in that game is, I think, even if they lose but have a strong performance, you can build off that. You know what I mean? Like it's just about finding feet.
Yes, the problem is you said there, KJ. If you guys go away to is it Anfield or
Anfield?
Yeah, you get beat at Anfield like 2-0, 3-0. That's where it can be a problem though, because it's the knock-on effect. But if you do drop points, as Gal says, in your next 2 league games, you could come back after the World Cup and be anywhere between sort of 11 to 14 points off the top 4. That for me,
Terry, what also worries me, sorry to interrupt, is Tottenham are the exact team that are our kryptonite. They'll let us have the ball. They'll literally say, look, have the ball, and they'll hit us on the counter. We're so susceptible to it. And that's what worries me the most. They're probably one of, if not the best team at doing it. And that's why I'm so worried for next Sunday. I think we're about to endure the worst week in a very long time. I can actually see 3 defeats in a row. All competition is not nice.
But this is where it's like Klopp needs. This is where I'm like, this is why Zayn was annoying me, because he wouldn't say why or how Liverpool can change and get better. This is where Klopp needs to be like, you know what, yeah? Their kryptonite for Spurs is teams sitting back on them and counting them. You guys should do, like, honestly, you guys should do it.
And that's what he did at City. So
you know what's crazy as well? Terry said it on many shows, show after show as well. It doesn't necessarily mean a low block, just 5 or 10 steps, yards behind. It doesn't necessarily have to be, even though I'd like it to be literally in front of our goal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But this is where you look at Klopp and you ask him to have some tactical nous, because it's insanity. You can't keep doing the same things and getting the same results. It's crazy. It's crazy.
True. And when you look at this season, and this is just the Premier League, doesn't include the Champions League. First 2 games of the season you drew, then got beat by United. Bournemouth was great, 9-0, brilliant. You then remember the Newcastle game. They nearly went 2-0 up. They were just offside, and you scored a winner. A minute and a half over the allotted time, but you won the game, right? But Newcastle were very good. You then were poor against Everton. They had a goal ruled out. Then there was the postponements and everything else. You drew with Brighton 3-3, and they battered you. You were leading, then you lost it. Arsenal much better than you. You then were very good against City. That's 2 good performances. The West Ham game, yes, you won.
And Terry, shock. The reason why we were good against City is because we actually changed our approach.
Exactly. And then you go to the West Ham game, and I sat on here on one of our shows and said, I think you would deserve to win, but still you're leaking chances and opportunities. And most Liverpool fans are like, no, we didn't. I think we turned the corner. And then you lose back-to-back against Forest and Leeds. You actually look at Liverpool's season, and you've had 2 good games from 12, and people are acting like it's disrespectful to ask questions. That, for me, is crazy. It's
even though the results are consistent. 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses. At least they're consistent.
True.
You know what the funniest thing?
Very balanced squad. Very balanced this year. Very balanced this year.
To be fair, if you actually watch the West Ham game, that's the game that brought me back down to earth. Because after the City game, understandably, I was quite reactionary, and I thought Klopp's changed something, but I kind of knew it wasn't sustainable. But the performance against West Ham, the result doesn't correlate to the game, because if it wasn't for that Milner block, we draw that game. Some would argue we probably should have lost the game. The scoreline
and they were getting in behind your fullbacks.
But you know what I thought, and I think I said it on the top 6 show, was that you were fortunate to get through that West Ham game, but to get those 2 wins in a row and then have the 20th and 19th team in the league. It's like it's literally that's 4 wins in a row given to you. No, not given to you, but you've got the first 2. Now you've got given 2 more, and somehow you conspired to lose to the 2 worst teams in the league.
Crazy.
It just doesn't make sense. It does not make
crazy.
sense.
Blaze says mentality monsters, lol, more like mentality teddy bears. Dennis is getting top 4 will not save Liverpool. This is starting to feel like. Sorry, I already had that one. Wenger post 2006. Klopp was laughed after conceding the second goal. Is it time to go? So we've kind of gone through that already. I do love Klopp's facial expressions when they lose, though. It reminds me of my granddad when he had dementia. That some of the smiles are just off key. It's like you shouldn't be smiling at that point, but he does.
And Terry, they look a bit lopsided as well. So one side of the face is a bit.
Yeah, I had one of my great uncles. He used to like he weren't very well, but he sometimes he'd be sitting there and then he just smile like that, and it was like, Uncle Richard, what's the matter, mate? And Klopp, but Klopp does it obviously not for the same medical reasons. It's just he randomly smiles when he shouldn't, and then he's smiling, and then he'll go. And it's like, Klopp, what's wrong? I love it.
Only when we're in trouble as well. Only when we're clinging on.
It's an ironic smile.
Yeah, it's like if you ever watch those, it's a very English thing. People do gurning competitions. Just Google, if you don't know what that is, Google gurning competitions. Klopp could win easy. Great managers rebuild. Not doing so is arrogance or awful foresight. Milner's on the brink of a pension, but relied on like it's still 2015. Just a reminder, Napoli slapped Swallow 4-0 today and are on a 14-game winning streak with Osimhen and guess it. I know back scoring. Neeks KJ build teams will never rebuild. No proof. Built teams will never rebuild. Klopp, sorry, I thought you meant KJ. Got it wrong. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. Liverpool is nothing without Mane 100%. Virgil van Donkey looking like prime Harry Maguire. As a City fan, we love to see it. Listen, I appreciate it. So go on.
That Mane take, some Liverpool fans still are in denial, thinking that just because they got Luis Diaz, that was enough. Like obviously you wanted Darwin Núñez to fill that void, but Mane is a special player. You guys all know how special he is. To say that you don't miss him, or he's not, him being out of the equation doesn't, but him being in this equation right now wouldn't have benefited you, is almost like you're in denial of the fact that you got rid of a big part of your success.
Sure.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. It's so obvious. Like every team that loses through old age or selling of or retirement, a star player, unless you replace them with somebody of either equal quality or you invest big somewhere else in your team, you lose them. Man United lost Eric Cantona. We replaced him like for like with Teddy Sheringham. Now Teddy Sheringham was a mate. I love Teddy Sheringham, but he wasn't as good. But we invested elsewhere in our team. Everybody has to do this. If you don't, you're in trouble. David Beckham left Man United, so a young Ronaldo came into the fray as an example. You look at City, Fernandinho has gone. He hasn't actually, because he's been injured. They went and got themselves Calvin Phillips. Aguero leaves. It took a year to get it done, but Haaland comes in. If Man City would have replaced Yaya Toure with Danny Drinkwater, and if they would have replaced Aguero with Danny Ings, and they replaced Vincent Kompany with Maguire, they wouldn't be where they are now. You have to replace with quality. Mane leaving is the issue. Mane leaving isn't the issue. You didn't replace him. You replaced him with Darwin Núñez, who isn't on the same level as an overall footballer.
That's what I was going to say.
You guys would have signed Haaland or Harry Kane this summer. You wouldn't be missing Mane as much because that person, they'd have been a different player, but they would have filled the void with quality. You didn't do it. You didn't do it.
It would have been a similar caliber player. And another thing is we didn't invest in the right department, which is obviously our midfield. So it killed us even more.
How long before James Pearce or Paul Joyce with the Bellingham to Liverpool is hot?
Probably in a couple hours.
Very soon. Listen, boys, I appreciate you all coming on. All my super, I know there's a lot of you backstage that I couldn't get on. I'm very, very sorry. I really do appreciate your time. All my super chatters, you're amazing. My subscribers, I love you very much. Tomorrow, of course, live reactions to Arsenal, Forest, and Manchester United versus West Ham. So keep an eye out for them. And probably a very special fan channel reaction show in the morning as well after today's results. So I'm going to scour the internet tonight. It's pretty nice. I've had a lot of channels now sending me in their own videos going, bro, can you feature me? I'm like, yes, we can. So we can get that done. Listen, until next time.
Copy should be good after.
Copy. I'm sure you're going to have some. Normally it's unique. It sends me the copy stuff. So I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. Listen, until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.